Hi guys. So I was thinking about this topic of assimilation into cultures. Um, I'm going to talk specifically about Canada because obviously this is where I am now. Um, but I've seen assimilation differently in other countries and cultures. So the assimilation here, why it got into my head is because someone was saying, "Oh, immigrants come in and they're supposed to assimilate and they're supposed to eat the Canadian food but they go to Asian stores and get their ingredients and like that was actually like a criticism and I found that very strange. I said like, well, I didn't say anything at that point, but in my brain I was like, assimilation, you have to eat Canadian food, like they're buying stuff from the Asian store in Canada, that's assimilation. Like I just found it interesting, the expectation of having to have Canadian food. I'm like, what is Canadian food? Canadian food is also universal. Even though a lot of franchises don't actually like to assimilate, they are very just rigid in their ingredients and stuff. Like I saw Beaver Tails, the stall, and I was like, 20 years ago, the ingredients have been the same. The menu has been the same. It didn't change. And I'm like, people adapt and change and improve and like Nutella and all these are not ancient traditions. It's not something that is like, it's kind of new. It's a new, invention. So it's always been the same. Can we just, expand but I just found it interesting, like how it's expected to like eat Canadian food, and then I was like, what is Canadian food? It's poutine. It's like a type of bread, bannock bread, I think is the name. There's another bar I had a few days ago. It's really nice. It's like a layered. It's coconut based. It's called Danemo bar, I think. And I find that so exotic, and it's actually Asian because they don't grow coconuts here. So it's an ingredient that comes from tropical country, and I was like, this is amazing. So assimilation really goes both ways. There's no one way to assimilate. Obviously, language is important, knowing the language and things like that. Then it goes both ways. I think the rigidity of understanding of assimilation, you can't ignore someone's entire past and their experiences. Even in Canada, you're very diverse. The different types of people here. So I feel it goes both ways, but I feel like in Canada specifically, things are more rigid. I find like even McDonald's, for example, they don't have really diverse menu. When I look back at Asia and I was like, McDonald's there have kind of adapted a menu that is more local. And for example, like sweet chili sauce, they incorporate that into their menu somehow. Like some of the flavors that are very, spicy and just the flavors of the culture, they put that in their menu. And I just come here and I'm like, why are people still the same? Like, why don't they expand? Why don't they have, I'm not saying everyone, but like a vast majority of people in Canada do not have the flexibility to adapt. There's like a sort of fear, which is as like, it's almost like we look at ourselves like superior to others. Yeah, other cultures have different problems, like they feel inferior to others, and so I'm just looking at the Canadian experience, and yeah, it's interesting how assimilation works both ways. Bring in your spices, add flavor, respect both differences, and integrate and create something new, totally new. It's not like you're gonna bring in, your whole past and bring it. It's unreasonable. It doesn't happen that way, but more of how you can engage in a very productive and fruitful way. I think that's assimilation, and a lot of fear and paranoia has to have to be like just put on the side bench for a while because it won't help the whole assimilation process.